Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the JFK from Reddit Lithium bringing you, hopefully, or I'm sure Korea Republic hopes, the last video with them linked in it. We've already put up the Town Hall 11 3 stars, some Town Hall 10 3 stars, and a few Town Hall 9 3 stars. So thank you guys so much for giving me some good content and some good bases. But anyway, yeah, this is kind of one of the newer styles of Town Hall 9 anti 3 star bases that if you haven't encountered, you should be encountering it very soon into the future. And a lot of the tough wars, you're going to see a lot of these dead zones right here. And those can really serve several purposes. Usually you assume there's nothing in it, so if there are Teslas and giant great bombs, it can really throw your raid off, especially if you're the first attacker. Other times it's really just to try to break up your kill squad and to not let one squad push through the whole base. So it makes you kind of think and analyze and really have to analyze the base and separate your troops and not send them all in one massive group. For this kind of base, the first thing that I look for is, okay, what is the base going to give me? And really, I would say that for any type of anti 3 star, just for any base, in particular Town Hall 9, what is the base actually giving you? So the first thing that my eyes are immediately drawn to are some free percentage points down here, and then up around here. And then if we scroll down to the bottom, a little bit of this is free, and a few things at the top. So straight away, in my mind, I know that I'm either going to be using archers or minions, something with range, probably minions though, just because, you know, you've got these mortars here and a cannon here and cannon and mortar here, just to make sure that those troops actually do what you want them to do. So that's the first thing that I look at when I see this base. The next three things I kind of think about, and I've said these in my other videos too, are first of all, how are we going to deal with the queen? Because she is a real bitch if you do not get rid of her at some point in the raid and you don't have a plan to get rid of her. Usually that will ruin your raid. The second thing is CC. How are we going to handle the CC? When are we going to pull it? And what are we going to do when it comes out? You know, what's the plan A? What's the plan B as far as that kind of stuff goes? And finally, since I'm a ground attacker, what I have to worry about are great bombs and traps. So Teslas, spring traps, great bombs. Sometimes I hybrid attack things, and in this attack I actually did hybrid, so I was a little bit worried about where some of the air bombs could be or the seeking air mines. But luckily I didn't encounter any on my attack. So I'm kind of thinking about spring traps, great bombs, Teslas, you know, how do I create my attack in advance to try to avoid as much of that as possible and to let my squads push through the base. So when I kind of looked at this base and I knew, you know, the free percentage points that I could take, I made my mind up that I was going to start my queen walk right in here, and I was going to use a minion right here to create a funnel for my queen to go here. So you have to direct her the way you want her to go. And I knew that just based out how these buildings were spaced out, they weren't spaced out weird. She's not going to hit a wall. She's going to keep going. Now, when you get uneven buildings and sometimes, you know, the buildings, let's say if these buildings were like one step further in, or this here was like a little bit larger and they were spaced out a little bit more, then you can't be too sure what she's going to do sometimes, and she will shoot a wall. So like if I sent her this way, I would kind of be afraid that she could potentially shoot a wall just because these are further back and these are a little bit more spread out right here. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to send her to the north, and I want to break her in to this area right here. So I'm going to start my queen right here, create the funnel right here. When I get in, I know that I'm going to be encountering Archer Tower, Wiz, and the enemy queen, and I'm sure the Expo is going to be trained on me at some point there. So what I did for this attack was I grabbed 4 healers and a poison to deal with that queen. Now I also had a rage in my back pocket that if there was a Tesla farm in here, or there were Teslas, right here, or they could have possibly been right here, and I had started to aggro those as my queen was like up along here, then I could have dropped a rage because I had that plan B. So I wasn't just going in saying, okay, I'm going to use the poison no matter what. I was going in saying I'm going to use the poison, and if some things come up and surprise me, I've got a rage in my back pocket that I will use then if I have to. Let's get rid of this stuff here. Okay, so once this part of the base was clear and my queen's walking up here, the next step is wall break into this compartment right here. Once she's in this compartment, I know she's going to pull the CC because the CC radius is about right like that. Not a perfect circle. I never said I was an artist, but I knew that my whole goal was to take out the enemy queen, get her up here, get her through here, and take out, or really I guess just engage the enemy CC. That was her top priority. Also, I actually had some loons that I released onto this archer tower and to this archer tower while she was doing her walk, because I wanted to get rid of that expo, because I knew that as she got out further in front of those healers, that expo was going to actually grab onto them, and depending where they were, like if they were against this wall and just kind of circling behind her just like this, before I knew it, every one of my healers was going to be dead from that bow. So I actually brought 6 loons just for this expo, essentially. So I used 4 loons here, 2 here. The reason I took some minis because I didn't know if there were any Teslas there, didn't know if there were any bombs and whatnot, and there weren't, which was great. So the next part of the attack, and kind of, I guess you could say, the final part of the attack, or the planning stage, is okay, so now where do I put my king and where do I put my push squad, and how am I going to handle that, and what am I going to do with them? So the area I was looking at was actually down here, just because I knew I was going to be able to take out some of these buildings in here, and I was going to be able to create an early funnel. Now I kind of screwed up, as you'll see in the live attack here. I was still able to bust everybody in and get my rage down, but I was trying to get my golem to actually sit right in here if it was possible. That way this archer tower would have been aggro to it, the wizard tower and the mortar, and then I could have just wall broken in right here. So it would have just been a lot smoother. He actually had some Teslas pop here, and he had a Tesla pop there, which made that entry point pretty interesting. So I just kind of had to go on the fly a little bit and decide like how to drop my golem, how to drop my king, and everything. But the goal was to drop a rage down right here to get my Valks and my king and my golem through that wall into the next area. Then I dropped a heal over him right here to keep him up as long as possible. As I was doing that, I took about 8 hogs with me, so I was dropping the hogs on the Teslas, and then I dropped the hogs on the mortars and stuff like that, just to help my kill squad keep pushing through. Then my last spell that I used for them was a jump. So just to make sure that everything was done. And I think I dropped 2 hogs back here, and I actually saved a hog for this gold mine right here, I believe, because I had a minion and a hog that I sent in that way. So that's just kind of a very elementary breakdown of kind of what I was looking at when I did this attack. So started with my AQ walk at 3, and I busted her into this compartment to engage the CC. Then I started with my kill squad, that's just what I'm going to call them, all the way up through here to meet the AQ. So what I've pretty much done is taken everything out in the base except the dead zones. I've just gone right around them, and since I took 8 hogs, I had a little bit of flexibility that I could dump them in where I needed to, and they can get over walls to any of the defenses that I couldn't reach with my main kill squad. So without further ado, let's get into the attack just so you guys can kind of see what it looks like on a fresh base. Hopefully this helps. Hey guys, what's up? We are back to watch the replay now of the amazing diagram that I just made for everybody. I apologize for that. Hopefully they get better over time, but I think everyone kind of understood the gist and what we're kind of looking for in this type of attack. So without further ado, I'll get going into the attack and just commentate here and again, just to kind of reinforce what we talked about in the strategy planning portion. Fast forwarding in a little bit. Okay, so the text should start here in a second, and the way I'm going to get it going should be with minions, actually. Yep, okay. I just didn't remember if I dropped the queen or the minions first. So I've got the minions in those spots that I talked about that were just kind of free percentage points. I've got the minion down there at 3 o'clock to help create the funnel for the queen, so I know that she goes to the north. I want to make sure I get that down before she works through all those storages and the cannon and everything. So, and it's down, and now I know that she will go north towards the queen. That is a success for now. So now I'm waiting, seeing if any Teslas pop, any mystery Teslas, and there's nothing popping, so I drop my poison. I'm like, okay, going in for the poison, still nothing. Now I'm dropping those loons I talked about because I wanted to get rid of that Expo because I saw some potential problems with that. You see how it's trained onto the queen? I was just thinking it was going to train onto the healers possibly. So sending in probably a few too many loons since there were absolutely no air bombs in there. But like I said, I didn't know. So I had to work with what I could. Sent extra wall breakers in just in case there was a Tesla. Drop my rage because I see my self healers trying to catch them, and yeah, fraction of a second away from death right there. So now gonna get into the CC pull part. Wasn't sure what was in there. It's a lava hound. It really doesn't make a difference what's in the CC for this kind of base. If you pull it, you're not getting hit with anything. So now I'm over 50%. I see all the other Teslas pop, and I'm just preparing myself to figure out, okay, where do I drop the golem? What should I do? You can tell my brain is very hard at work here trying to figure out, okay, now what should I do exactly to make sure I can get the funnel I want it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just drop the king, then I'll drop the wall breakers just so the king gets the majority of the aggro if possible. So now I'll drop my rage just a little bit in front of him. Would have liked it a little bit further back, but now everybody's in it. Kind of wasted 2 hogs over there, one on the Teslas and one on the mortar, unfortunately. But you know, sometimes with these live attacks that happen. Got the heal in, and now I've got some other hoggies coming in to help that kill squad push right through. I followed those hogs up with a wizard, actually, if you notice it on the gold mine. Always try to follow your hogs up with a wizard if possible in that situation, just to help with cleanup. So now I've still got a few hogs left, just kind of spreading them in and around, just trying to help my kill squad continue to push through. But right now this base is pretty much just totally wrecked, totally done. Had that last hog that saved it for that just because I wasn't sure how I was going to clear that and if the air mines were there, etc. So drop that last hog, and that is a wrap. So hopefully this vid made sense. Hopefully you guys can see it's still not perfect with a fresh hit, but if you do plan in advance and you kind of take a lot of things into account, most of the time you're going to come out on top and it's going to be a success. Thanks for watching, everybody.